Hey everyone, welcome back. This time we're going to go over GrabbableReceiverSurface. GrabbableReceiverSurface is a awesome way to make sort of tables, shelves, bookshelves, drawers, you name it. Just basically objects where you want to place other objects on top of, inside, around, or on something. So I'm going to show a few examples, and then we're going to show you how it works and how to make it yourself. So I'm going to hop over into Smooth POV here, and you'll see I have a table here. This table comes from the Neos Essentials 3D Models Furniture folder, and there's quite a few examples in here that use a grabbable receiver surface. I'm going to spawn out two more over here. I'm going to spawn out the drawers here and the cupboard here as well. And they're a bit wonky, but we'll straighten them up there. I'm having major drifting issues today. I have new controllers arriving on Sunday, but I wanted to get some videos going, so just ignore things that randomly rotate. It's my controller's on the way out. So now I've got all these objects in. I'm just going to spawn a couple of random props that we can play around with. So I'm going to go inside. I always did like the biology items. The reason is because they're small, they spawn nicely. So we'll just duplicate a few as well. So here's some white blood cells. Here's some red blood cells. And so what I'm going to do is take this white blood cell and put it on the table here, and you'll see it snaps down onto the table. Not only that, now when I move the table, you see it's parented to the table. So, if you had a mug or a cup or a glass, you could also do that with that, or a book or something. And the same thing here with this chest of drawers. So you can put it on the top here, it'll snap in. But additionally to that, you can also open this drawer and you can put objects in there and it will snap into that particular drawer. And then when you shut that drawer, the item stays inside. This is one of the first objects I played with in a world called Probable Prime's World, which was a world I ran for like 2 weeks whilst I was learning Neos. Someone came in, I think it was Leon maybe, and he said, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to figure out how this chest of drawers works. And here's how it works. In here we've got a cabinet, so we can open up the doors and we can put in the object there and close it as well. So that's GrabbableReceiverSurface in action. Let's show you how to build one. So I'm going to go ahead and equip my tooltip. For this, we're going to be using a cube. The reason we're using a cube is because it kind of just sets itself up nicer. I was going to use a quad, but quads you have to rotate a little bit. So here on the cube that we've created, we're going to inspect it, and we're going to go down to the bottom of the list of components. We're going to go to Attach Component, Transform, Interaction, GrabbableReceiverSurface. When GrabbableReceiverSurface is added, you will see a bunch of options here. I'm going to skip over most of them for just a moment, and we're going to go straight to the directions one, because this is the most important one to kind of explain. In this example, the direction is by default set to -y, and -y on the direction is actually the correct one in this case. So if I take this white blood cell and I put it on the top here, you'll see it snaps downwards into it. And that's because the direction is set to -y. If you look at the object, if I move the box up by using the gizmos here, the inspector close, sorry, here we go. The gizmos are just a little hard to see. So you'll see when I move the object up, y increases, and when I move the object down, y decreases. And so that's why it is -y. So here, -1 on the y means objects on the top of it will go down into it. If I set this here to +y, as in just 1, now objects will go into the bottom of it. So you could have, I don't know, one of those shelves where you hang pans or knives or cups and glasses at bars and pubs and stuff. Additionally, I can set this to any other axis as well. So I could set this to let's do +x. So +x should be this side. Yep, there we go. But I could also set it to -x as well, and then it would be this side over here. And this is why we're using a cube. You see, I can do everything here. Z again will be the front and back of the cube as well. But we're going to go on to the other options. Quick note before we do that though, you can add multiple directions here, so I could add everything here. Don't specify more than one number here. Usually you don't want that. I'm not sure if that actually works. You might get like an angular thing or something like that. But in that case, just rotate the object at an angle and then use its local position. I'll give a demonstration of that later. But you could add everything here. So we're going to leave that back on the default of -1. And then I'm going to go over the next options here. So GrabbableReceiverSurface now has the standard ones, persistent, update order, and enabled. The next one is parent placed. So if I turn on parent placed and then I grab this white blood cell and drop it on the top here, you'll now see it's parented to the box. And that's cool, because now when I move the box, it's attached. And all of these objects over here, the chest of drawers, the table, etc., they have that parent placed option enabled. Beneath that is override parent. Override parent's nice. What we can do here is we can say, hey, let's make a new object here. And we can say, let's call this holder or something like that. Holder. And then up here we can drag holder into override parent. And now, when I drop an object down, it won't get parented to the box. It'll get parented to the holder because I've overridden it. That's useful if you have a really complicated object and you want to override the parent to be somewhere where you'd ideally like it, to keep the hierarchy of the object clean or for some sort of functional reason. The directory uses that one to manage the admin UI I have for it, where I add new folders to it. Beneath that is Tween Time. That is how long it takes to be sort of sucked down. If you increase that, it starts to get kind of weird. So here, when we move this in range, you'll see it slowly goes down. That almost resembles an elevator. That enables you to have a nice effect doing it. I usually leave it as 0.1. It's nice to see that. You could also speed it up to 0, and then it would like instantly drop there. That's really good if users are like putting them on the object, directly on the table or directly on the cabinet, etc. But if they're anywhere away from it, it will just kind of sort of fall out of their hands and land on the object the moment they let go. So leave it a little bit there. Max distance here is how far away from the object it can be. In this case here, it's a very big number, but you can limit that. You can drop it all the way down. Regardless of that, though, it does need to be within the collider volume of the object, or near enough to collide with the object. So you can't, for example, I can't put an object up here, even though the max distance here is set to a very big number. I'm just going to set that down to a much smaller number so you can see it. As you see, I'm nowhere near the collider volume here. But the moment I get close to the collider volume, you'll see it'll slide down. What I mean by that is the collider of the box here. So if you go to the box here, it's got a box collider, and we need to be close to that collider so that you can check it. Offset here will control how far away from the object it gets sucked it down onto. So here we can set this to be, hey, 0.5. And then when I pick up this blood cell and drop it again, you'll see it's now 0.5 units away from the object. That's useful if you've got like, I'm imagining some sort of cool pedestal, and some sort of like ruin or something, and you put a relic in there and it kind of just floats mysteriously there. You could also do that quite coolly if on the holder object that we talked about, you dropped in a like a spinner or something. So spinner, and then of 1 here. Isn't that doing what I want it to? I just needed more speed. So now if I get rid of all the objects on it, anything I drop on here will then, float up to the top and immediately start spinning. That makes quite a cool effect. Let's go back to a box here. Beneath that is check offset. I'm not entirely sure what this one does. I'm not going to flounder around and do that here. It may affect the collision checking about how far away it needs to be. Let me just try that. I'm going to set this to a very large distance. No, I'm not sure. I have no idea what's going on there, but it's probably because I set the check offset very, very high. If I do find out, I'll let you know in the comment section what that does. I should have looked that one up before I started recording, but I didn't. Never mind. I'm just going to rescue that from wherever it is. It looks like it's miles in the ground. Beneath that is the directions list, which we covered, and then beneath that is a tag filter. Now, tags in the past have been used for things such as data storage. Tags are actually really for sort of classifying objects here. So right now the tag is set to, filter is set to blacklist, and what that means is tags listed below here will not be received by the grabbable receiver surface. You could also set it to whitelist, which means they would need that tag to be received. So if I set it to whitelist here and I enter potato, then only objects that are tagged with potato will be receivable. So here I have another white blood cell, and you'll see it's not snapping down, even though that would have a moment ago. But if I inspect the white blood cell, and I make sure I'm at the root of the white blood cell here, and I tag the white blood cell here with potato, then you'll see it gets locked in and it's spinning just as we saw. On blacklist here, it would, let's actually do that. We'll send it to blacklist and then we'll ungrab the white blood cell so it's not parented. And now you'll see it won't parent, but if I go ahead and grab any other object, it will parent, but the white blood cell won't. So that's whitelist and blacklist for you. Couple of other extras. This one's only run over because of the extras involving the grabbable receiver surface. If you examine any object, so here I'm going to examine this red blood cell, on the grabbable component, you will see receivable. If this is unchecked, then it cannot be received by receiver surfaces, regardless of what the whitelist or blacklist on the receiver surface is. So I'm going to undo receivable on this red blood cell, and then put it near the box again, and you'll see it's not going to snap. Turn on receivable again, and it's immediately receivable. So do keep that in mind. I did go over that one in my grabbable video, so I'll link that below as well. I'm going to go ahead back to the grabbable receiver because there are a couple of LogiX operations that you can do with the grabbable receiver surface. So I'm going to go ahead and grab our LogiX tip. If we open up the node menu here of our LogiX tip and we go to interaction grabbable, you'll see here there is a on grabbable receiver surface received. I love the name of this one. It's appropriately named. It's just comical how long it is. So here what you can do is you can take the grabbable receiver and you can plug it into on grabbable receiver surface received, and then every time something is parented to the grabbable receiver, you'll get an impulse here. You'll get a grabbable here, which is it's a special type. You might not have seen this color before. I'll go through the rest and I'll show you how to convert that straight to a slot. And then you'll see a from grabber there, and you can also convert that to a user, so you can see who has used it. So to convert the iGrabbable to a slot, just go to yes, here it is. Slots, get slot, and then plug the beige one into that. And then you can also do the same for the user there as well. And then you'll get an event there. As with all event nodes like this, where it's it's got on in the title or something like that, the data that comes out of this side of the node is only valid for one sort of update cycle. So you either need to use it immediately or write it to a variable. In this case, we're going to go ahead and just write it to two variables, just so I can show it working for prosperity's sake for you. So we're going to go to variables here, slot. And we're going to write to the slot, and we're going to write to the slot here, and I'm going to put these in, and then I'm going to say when the object is received, write what it is to the slot variable, and write the user to the slot variable as well, and then we'll pull two display nodes on both of those. And then we'll go ahead and close our LogiX menu and drop something else onto it. I probably have a whitelist enabled again. Yep, there we go. So here you can see the check name for red blood cell is appeared here because that's the item that was dropped in. And then the slot for the grabber was labeled here as grabber. That's a mistake on my part, but that's fine. What you can do here to get that to a user is you can go to slots, do get active user here. And if you do get active user on a grabber slot, then you'll get the person who dropped it. So there's me. So I can go ahead and do that again with another object. Let me just check that. It's on the blacklist, that's why. So again, we'll grab another white blood cell and drop it in. Why are you not grabbing? do the red blood cell again. There we go. And everything there has updated. If I do this, you'll see it when it happens. There you go. So we got a pulse there, and you'll see me and the red blood cell there. That's it for now for Grabbable receiver surfaces. They're used basically like everywhere you see a table or a desk or a counter or a bookshelf. In most worlds, you'll have a Grabbable receiver surface on them. The tool shelves here, I don't think they use Grabbable receiver surfaces, but they kind of act the same. We grab it, you drop it near, and it kind of just parents to it. Maybe I'll do a tutorial video on how these work at one point, but just know they're kind of a similar operation. So if it helps you picture it, then play around with your tool shelves a little bit. This video has gone on way too long. I will see you next time. Leave some comments below if you have any questions. Let me know what you think. I will see you next time.